welcome. I'm Hugh Hefner, your host. This is Connie Kresge, and I think you know Jackie Gale.
Hi.
The Deep Purple are here, and they're just about to perform, so come on in and join the fun.
You can get your thumb just there. Okay? There you go.
All right. I'm ready, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we found the Tex Ritter we need for the movie.
I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready to record yet, fellas. I think I'm going to let you do it. Yeah. Listen, how did you guys all get together? You haven't been together as a group very long now.
9 months, actually.
And did you know one another before that, or?
Yeah, about 2 years altogether, or maybe even longer. Some of us have known each other.
Now, I understand that you all moved into a house together, kind of so you could live together and work together, but it didn't work out. What?
It was haunted.
The house was haunted.
Yeah, sure. Now you really.
And you
Really
really
was
believe it was haunted?
I know it was haunted. I saw with my own glasses.
I'm not going to ask you the circumstances under
tell you
which it
later.
became possible for you to see all those strange manifestations, but...
avons ici Tony Edwards. Tony Edwards est un des managers de Deep Purple depuis 8 ans maintenant. J'aimerais que tu nous dises, Tony, un petit peu tous les petits problèmes qu'il y a, mettons le California Jam, les problèmes de matériel, de personnel qu'entraîne un groupe sur la route.
Oh, je me rappelle d'une chose avec California Jam. Nous avons eu une équipe de vers 30 hommes, 30 personnes alors. Nous avons eu même une infirmière avec nous sur notre avion parce que nous avons eu une telle horreur de manquer cet grand événement.
Je voudrais que tu nous dises, là on voit Richie Blackmore en train de casser sa guitare. Je crois qu'il y a eu des problèmes avec la police après parce qu'il y a eu un incendie.
Ouais.
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
Oh,
la police a voulu arrêter Richie Blackmore.
Non, c'est quelque chose avec le département du feu, les pompiers alors. Nous avons eu 2 bombes sur les scènes. Et on a entendu que le shérif de Californie va arrêter la groupe entière. Alors nous avons tout couru avec toute vitesse après le spectacle à Los Angeles.
Cinq jeunes musiciens anglais. Ian Pace, batteur. Richie Blackmore, guitariste. Glenn Hughes, bassiste. David Coverdale, chanteur. John Lord, organiste. Ce sont les membres du groupe pop Deep Purple dont la tournée en France a mobilisé un matériel et un personnel particulièrement importants.
Nous sommes beaucoup de personnes avec Deep Purple. Alors ça dépense toujours environ 20 personnes. Ça dérange entre 15 et 20 tonnes. Beaucoup de notre team sont été des musiciens. Ils sont changés maintenant de faire le mécanicien comme ça. Et je crois que tous de nous aiment ce job.
Le soir même, 21h50, quelques minutes avant l'entrée en scène, dans la loge de Deep Purple. Aussi célèbre que les Rolling Stones aux États-Unis, Deep Purple joue un rock dur, agressif, entraînant parfois la violence.
Il faut savoir laisser l'excitation se créer pour que le concert soit bien, soit amusant, mais il faut savoir la retenir dans ses excès.
Enfin, après le départ du groupe, la salle, tel un champ de bataille abandonné.
close to the land. People are saying the woman is damned. Mr. Burn with a wave of the hand. Cities ablaze, the stars on fire. Woman's flames are reaching higher. We were fools, we called a liar. Is burned. Didn't believe she walked up the sperm. She said, curse the war, you'll never learn. When I leave, there's no return. The people laugh, so she said, burn. Morning came, no one came. The shaking was stood instead. When it came, no one was spared. Still could not even try. You know we had you very much. Thank you. That was the title of the new album. It's called Burn.
It would be silly if we started suddenly writing like the Eagles, because they do it better. But we do Deep Purple better than the Eagles would.
David singing like Joni Mitchell, it's silly. You do what you're good at.
Yeah, we have limitations which you accept.
What comes out is a conglomeration of 5 people's ideas and the way they play. You are what the audience make you. It's no good saying. It's no good saying you're a serious musician and everybody starts laughing at you. You know.
You're right. Exactly.
You know, if you do what you do to the best of your ability, then the audience puts you into a category. You don't. They make you. They say, well, these are now a heavy rock band. This is a nice folk band. You don't say that. You know, you're too inside it. You can't say anything.
You have a reputation for being the loudest band in the world. Are you happy with this?
No.
You're not happy with it?
It's wrong. There's so many other bands that play loud all the time, whereas we use a lot of light and shade in the music. When it's quiet, it's quiet. When it's loud, it's loud. There's various other bands I could mention that just continue to play loud all the time.
Ian Campbell folk group.
Well, they're loud.
We're just the loudest one they ever measured. That's all.
Yeah, really. I mean, you know, they never measured anybody else to that extent. And
nothing to be proud of.
It's nothing to do with aggression. You want to present an aggressive image.
Oh, well, we certainly would like to be. We like to think of ourselves as a vaguely aggressive band. I mean, we're not that interested in being anything else.
In terms of fighting and seat smashing and.
No, that's gratuitous.
Aggressive.
That's gratuitous.
Shame.
I mean, and that doesn't come from the band. The band doesn't actually encourage that. It might invoke.
Occasionally you smash equipment, I understand.
Well, I'm smashing the wire. Seriously, I mean, if I feel that, you know, I want to get me yah-yahs out. No, it's a great way of doing it.
Sometimes when you do a show and that doesn't happen, then you leave the people with a load of built-in tensions which haven't been released because they've been taken up and nothing's quite burst them. And if somebody just goes ahead and gets completely destructive, then that's it. Somebody's broken the bag for them and it all goes away.
In fact,
we did one gig in the States. We started Mistreated, which is a track on Burn, and he just couldn't get the sound he wanted, you know, from it. It was a new instrument, so he just smashed it to pieces.
He broke 3 guitars in one gig in Washington on this last tour in the States. I couldn't believe it. I just wept.
The whole essence, though, of going to a rock concert is for the release of it, the emotional release. You know?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you take any rock concert, right, at the beginning of the evening, it's a potentially it's a potentially violent situation, if you think about it. There's 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 20,000 people, whatever the size of the venue is, who are all like, you know,
Why are they like that?
Because they're excited about what they're going to see, because presumably, well, particularly in a smaller venue, let us say, most of the people there are there because they are fans of yours.
So that it's cathartic, is this violence? They're not going to imitate it.
I wasn't going to use the word catharsis because I hate intellectualizing on that level. I don't think it's quite. No, nothing against the way you put it, but I think it's a very simple situation of
a lot of very excited people all together.
You need to be entertained and released and sent home happy.
The release you can get is like the physical release, which I think is what we promote. Physical release. I'll put it there. All right. An acoustic thing is purely a nice evening. A nice, you know, like happy feelings and things like that. There is a certain aggression.
You can draw parallels in other kinds of entertainment or art. I mean, you get a very different feeling from looking at one of those Renaissance paintings of Madonna with child than you do from looking at what's his name, Francis Bacon or something, you know, with the screaming Pope or something, that great sort of screaming face. That's a tense picture, right? Whereas or the Mona Lisa, let's say, you know, is a very serene picture. So I mean, contrast has to exist in all forms of entertainment or art or whatever you care to call it.
You're the Francis Bacon band.
Much more than, much more than the Lennon or the Vinci.
Good night, God bless you all.
No, it turns me on, that. It's the thing. I love it.
I turned around, I saw Richie throw his guitar up and you kick your drums to pieces, and I thought, I can't sacrifice a mic. And I thought, I'll kick the monitors off, you know. And I thought, can I afford it? I'll go off.
I've got 8 mics on.
I threw a ring on the floor and jumped on it. You know.
Crushed it great.
I just put my beer down. I put my beer down and it's gone.
Sure. Do you want a cigarette, Johnny?
We got the impression out there that you enjoyed that one.
I had a good time, yes. I could have done with another hour.
You could have danced all night, Bill. Drum roll.
Too busy talking.
One of my sons here, there.
Here it is. Give me a drum roll. Give me a drum roll. All I need is a drum roll. Jay, give me here. Sorry. Didn't say a word. Did not.
Carmen, it's Carmen Peters.
And see, I have my own dressing room because I like to tune up and I like my solitude before I go on stage. I tend not to get too involved in people because, to be quite honest, I find a lot of people are boring. I find myself boring most of the time. I don't like to be caught up. I always like to be the opposite. I always was at school. That's why I don't smoke. I used to find everybody at school smoking, you know. Oh, it's a big deal, man. Smoke, you know, rebellious image. Like, I thought, well, because of that, I won't smoke, and I never have, you know. Maybe if they hadn't smoked, I would have done, you know. Yeah. Mind you, I was probably doing other things which were just as bad, if not worse. I'm still very moody, shy, and very honest, which a lot of people can't take, you know. Honest? Yeah. And which is the hardest thing in this business is to is sincerity. Once you can fake that, you're laughing, you know. We're not brilliant songwriters, you know. I write most of the stuff, but I think some of it stinks, you know. We only get away with it because we're so good musically, you know. In fact, I wish some people would come forward and write songs for us, because we need it. But there are times when I feel like just saying, oh, let's forget it, you know, let's all go home, and we've all got enough money to just say, well, I'll do another LP when I feel like doing it. Because really, that's what every group should do. But every group is pressured by the record company. It's only guarding their own interests. A group only lasts a certain length of time, so they get the most out of them. It doesn't matter whether they fold up in 5 years, as long as they've made about 10 LPs in the meantime. Whereas in actual fact, to get the best out of a group, you've got to give them a year for each LP, I would think, for an actual progression without forcing it. And that really bugs me, actually, going to the studio. Right, we're going to turn out an LP, boys, you know, here we go, blah, blah, blah. I've got to write a song today, you know. It's just ridiculous, you know. Yeah. And I don't know if I've got the guts to do it, but I've often thought, that's it. I'd like to leave, not the band, I just want to get out of the business, play when I feel like playing, and do a record when I feel like recording. It'll be fantastic, but you can't have it all your own way, you know.
In terms of like longevity, this job comes last. Yeah, it comes last. You're given probably anywhere between 2 and 10 years, I would say, at the maximum, right, to make your...
You've had 6.
We've had 6, yeah. But out of the 6, I would say 3 have been financially excellent. The other 3 were...
Getting out of debt.
Getting out of debt, yeah, exactly. The debt that it cost to start this band. We started this band with one main idea and ideal, and that was that everything we did would be, by our lights, excellent. I think you know, the justification for what you do always comes from the amount of success what you do has. Providing we keep ourselves together and we believe in what we do. We've never been great lyricists, and we don't write sort of fantastic melodies and tunes, you know, except for Child in Time, which is quite a pretty tune. I mean, there's not that many pretty tunes.
Is that something you regret?
No, not particularly. Yeah, I regret it to the extent that if we could find a really great melody that would fit in with the way we play and the way we want to play, then fair enough. You'd use it, you know, like a shot. But we're more of a... we don't construct our songs like, say, Rodgers and Hart used to, you know, or Lennon and McCartney, even. They're sort of amalgams of what everyone is able to...
From a certain basic idea.
Ian might come up with a sort of a drum rhythm. Well, he came up with a drum pattern... Euphorno one, that's opening track on side 2 of Burn. Came purely and simply, initially, from a drum rhythm that Ian thought up.
Whereby Might Just Take Your Life came from an organ chord sequence that John had. So you start with the basic, simple little idea, then you get 5 minds saying, well, I think this would fit with that. That's what we do.
You know, but
that's maybe why they're not too melodic, they're not too lyrical.
We're a rock band. I mean, I don't like the term hard rock. I don't like the term heavy metal. You know, I'd like to think of ourselves as a rock and roll band. Burn, Machine Head, In Rock seem to centre around a specific kind of theme. Not even a theme you can put into words. But they hang together. You know it's part of that album, and it feels part of that album. And you can play the album from A to Z. Without thinking, oh, that sticks out like a sore thumb.
You see a progression in your album career?
It's sort of gone like that, you know, to us. We've gone up and then taken 1 step back, then 3 steps, then 1 back, you know, in terms of the albums.
Can you talk about your fairy tale discovery?
Yeah. With the accent on fairy.
I've always wanted to get on, you know. And I auditioned Deep Purple last year in August. No, it was...
Presumably you're nearer normality than they are. I mean, they've been living in this fantasy world for so many years. Presumably the contrast...
I've always had the fantasy there, you know. I've always wanted, I've known what it was about, you know. I just wanted to, instead of standing outside the door, I wanted to get in, you know.
And you're happy now you're there?
I'm very happy, yeah. Right.
What's it like being a superstar? Carrying around this sort of envelope of fame and...
Well, it's very, very strange, actually. The only real, as far as I'm concerned, the only real superstars, to use the term properly, are the people that would gain instant recognition in any town, in any country where their music or their films, whatever, have been seen or heard. Rock musicians don't actually come in for that kind of recognition outside the sphere of being in a concert hall and its environs.
People can now say to me, what's it like to be a superstar? And I say, pardon? Because I'm still playing the same as I did before, but it's like changing a job. It's like anyone changing a job. I'm playing with better people. The money side is there. I mean, financially it's fine, but it's a change of job. And to be called a superstar just because you've changed your job or firm, as Ian put it, is just stupid to me.
I just can't.
No, it must have altered your lives. Oh, you don't eat fish and chips now. You presumably go to...
Do it for fancy. Do it for fancy.
You might have the wrong idea.
If you don't want to eat fish and chips, you can afford not to eat fish and chips. That's all. That's the only.
All it is choice.
We don't walk around with hand mirrors, you know, like sort of admiring ourselves all the time, you know. Like, as Ian puts it, once the job is over for that particular night, you go home or you leave, and once you're out of the surrounding area, honestly, hardly anybody would recognise you unless they happen to be a fan of yours and have pictures of you at home or something. Or your album. I mean, like.
Is that failure?
No, it's because.
I'd rather be recognised musically than as a face.
It's an insulated world, rock and roll, you know. I mean, it doesn't actually get to Mrs. Hodgkins at number 43, you know. It gets to her daughter, maybe, or her son. Actually, I'd like to get to Mrs. Hodgkins' daughter. She's all right.
Paul McCartney's discovery.
Yeah, that's right. Mary Hodgkin. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's very insulated. And if it does happen in the street, if some Joe Boggs comes up to me in the street and asks for my autograph, of course I'm knocked out. I love it. It's a great feeling.
But you give up such a lot, you know. You give up such a lot when you're doing this.
What?
Time. That's what you give up. You know, for an hour and a half you get up on stage, you're probably spending 2 or 3 days, you know, away from your home life. Your social life gets screwed right up because you're pissing off to different countries every month or so. And that's a huge thing to give up. That freedom to say, I think I'll go to the pictures tonight, because you can't, because you know tomorrow you're playing 1,000 miles away, you've got to get a plane.
Now you may say, quite rightly, that you'd give up that freedom for the amount of money involved.
Right, then, yeah.
And that's exactly what I'd say. Yeah. Which is why I'm doing it. Could you pass me that bottle of marvellous stuff?
Is it hard work doing all that drumming behind such a loud band? Not tonight.
Physically it's quite demanding. The hardest thing is keeping the sweat out of my eyes, believe it or not. That's the hardest thing. It's fun, but it's not that difficult, other than if you're not feeling like 100%, it can get a bit tiring after half an hour.
Well, if you're not feeling 100%, what makes it hard is trying to make yourself feel 100%. Because
you know you should be playing better.
Because really, I don't want to sound twee or anything, or trite. Oh, it will, but it's not intended to. You do seriously feel an immense necessity to be good. And it stems from the fact that you are being paid by a lot of people to excel and to excite them. And if you know you're not doing it, I get so brought down. You know, it's amazing how just doomy you can get. You can walk off stage and literally be in tears.
Getting back to the studio thing, why we're probably a little bit on the subdued side on record is because when you're recording you find that there's one engineer and a couple of T-boys around, and it doesn't really inspire you to turn out your best. Whereas when you're on stage, you're playing to the people and they inspire you, obviously, you know. I suppose it's an ego thing, really. You like to kind of basically show them what you know, and you get really inspired. You get a real exciting thing playing with the crowd because they just turn you on.
We don't have many bad nights. In fact, since we've started, we've got on 3 fingers we've had maybe 3 bad nights. And when we do have a bad night, we don't fight. We just walk off, and we don't speak to each other. And the next day we go on stage. It's like that. We don't ever argue intensely. When we criticise each other, it's always polite criticism.
Yeah, you're shit, man.
It's necessary to respect each other. It's immensely necessary. Bands have broken up through lack of respect.
We spent time together socially.
This band more than this combination of Deep Purple more than any other combination. Yes.
I don't know I have, I think. But
can't help. I've spent more time with Glenn since he's been in the band than I spent with Roger in 2 years. The band has existed. I mean, Richie, Ian, and myself have been together since the end of 1967.
Your The Suspect Zarathustra seems to bring a cheer, as that proves that you're a better musician when you're playing Richard Strauss than you are when you're playing John Lord.
That comes from them, because I don't think that.
That's just a chance.
I mean, maybe you should ask a member of the audience that. I mean, I don't know. It's recognition, if you like. I mean, it's recognising a familiar thing. I put it in there because I think it works there. I love playing it as well. It's gas to play.
Works with the idea of that particular song.
I mean, the songs.
There's a space song.
There's a link. I mean, it's a tenuous.
No one thinks of it as Strauss. They think immediately 2001.
I suspected that one could prove that one was a good musician to the audience by playing classical music.
No, in actual fact, I think I could prove it better by improvising on the chord of G with him in the background. I think I could prove I'm a musician. That's what I was up there for, but I'm not up there for that. I'm not there to prove I'm a good musician. I'm up there because, well, all sorts of things, but not that. One is because it's my job. 2 is because I love it. And 3 is because I can't do anything else.
You've done some things individually, haven't you?
They are totally individual projects.
They're a completely separate activity.
Yeah. It's like a hobby. You've got to have something extracurricular that turns you on.
and this is a job. That's a hobby.
It's not quite as bold as that, but it's close. It's close. Yeah, it is a job.
Well, it sounds like you're not totally happy with the things that you do.
Oh no, there's no. Just because you call it a job doesn't mean to say you don't have to be happy with it. There are men that love being centre lathe turners. Purely semantically, you know, like out of the Oxford English Dictionary, you'd say that a painter, it was his job, wasn't it? A job is merely a word to describe what you do for your living, isn't it?
Yes, but it has the overtone.
It has the connotations of yeah.
What I'm doing it for is to have enough money to do the things that I really like doing.
Every job has its Monday morning, you know, and ours just happens to come on Saturday night, that's all.
Thank you for coming to see us. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you very soon. Take care.
Do you think you've made a contribution to musical history?
Not musical history, no. I've made a contribution to social history, probably. One which will be forgotten not long after the band breaks up. But that's modern times, isn't it? I mean, certain people will remember us, you know, like I said, they say, oh yeah, I remember when I was 15 I used to be a Deep Purple fan, or when I was 21 I used to be a Deep Purple fan, or whatever. It's a history of 10 years, which will last 10 years, and that's it.
Auckland International Airport, 9 a.m., November 13. A yellow Boeing 707 freighter lumbers to a parking space on the tarmac. About the same time the plane lands, in a stadium not 10 miles from the airport, men race the clock to build a giant outdoor stage. The yellow plane's been chartered for 5 weeks by English rock band Deep Purple. Cost $250,000. $20 tons of sound gear came on the plane, including an electronics expert and 20 roadies. All these men employed by the band. Among them, a top road manager whose nickname is Magnet.
What's the biggest hassle in a thing this size, you know?
That's really hard to say. Could be anything, you know, from trucks breaking down to the stage not being big enough, you know. But we send out a rider which specifies the size of the stage needed, and usually it's pretty together. We can always make compromises ourselves, and we never have any real major problems, you know.
Do you set the band gear up yourselves?
Well, I take care of the drums. Stuart takes care of the keyboards. We've all got our own jobs, you know. In fact, each person in the band has got his own person, you know. And we've also got an English guy who doesn't actually work for the band. He works for the people who own the monitor system, and he comes over with the monitors. But as I say, everyone knows everyone else. And it makes things a lot easier that way. There's no getting to know everybody at each tour, you know.
Yeah, because if you've got new guys sometimes, you know, so that personalities could clash anyway, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
But we all
Especially,
get
you
on
know,
really well together. And the band is amazing people to work for.
How long have you been with them?
I've been with them just over 2 years. But they really are amazing.
Marvellous blokes Purple may well be, but not to the extent of travelling with 20 tons of luggage on a freighter. They travel in style with wives on standard flights. All have personal managers travelling with them. Outside, a fleet of chauffeur-driven limousines awaits. One each. Cost $500. No interviews at the airport. The band's tired after its flight from Hawaii, so it's straight to the hotel for a few hours sleep.
Oh, that's an extremely rude-looking object you're holding in front of me.
What's the visual on your choice? Oh, that blue? That's really not blue. Yeah, it's pretty. We made that up on the way.
It's really conservative.
Deep Purple's had quite a few changes. Today's lineup, from the left, Ian Pace, Tommy Bolin, Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale.
Yeah, well, that's certainly a whack of gold disc you got anyway. A lot of humour there. Were you used to getting them?
Well, yeah, you can get very blasé about getting them, but it's always nice. I think we've only ever had one presentation of albums which has been bigger than this, and we sort of rigged that up in England because there were a load of American albums we hadn't got, and English albums, so we had about 40 or 50 albums there altogether. Well, it was a bit of a publicity hype, but we thought we beat McCartney to the punch.
You've had quite a few changes in the band. How does this, in fact, affect you?
It creates a lot of hard work. Obviously, it's very difficult to get people attuned to different members all the time, and it takes a little while for the new bands to wear themselves in. We've been really lucky with this set of 5 people in that it's come together in a matter of a few months, as opposed to like nearly a year for the old bands. So we're all very happy and very confident and very proud of the album we've done.
When Ritchie Blackmore left, was it a shock, or had you known it was coming?
Well, we knew it was coming, but it was a shock when he told us. It was like mid-tour, you know. And we'd planned another album at the end of that tour, which was in Europe. And everybody was all like getting into the whole thing and getting quite excited about the way things were going. Then, bang, out of nowhere, it came, I'm off. And there was a great deal of gloom and despondency for about a week, and then because everybody decided to quit, that was it, you know, we can't take any more changes. Then a wonderful little man we have working for us called Bill Reed, who's officially our accountant, but more like a father figure to us all, said, well, why have you got to stop? Why don't you go on? and he just planted the seed that maybe there was another chance, and we took it.
Any bad vibes between you and Ritchie Blackmore?
No. Richie's a weird dude. He says loads of weird things in the press, which he always denies afterwards, which 90% of the time I believe him, because he's probably the most misquoted man in the world, you know. I know he was bored with what he was doing for the last year with us, and he's not the most subtle of people when it comes to talking. So some of the things he tends to say look a bit outrageous if you don't know him too well. But, oh yeah, we're still great pals.
You did quite well with your new vocalist too, quite lucky there.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it? Yeah. What we did for the vocal things, we'd seen Glenn live, but obviously at that point David was just a piece of tape to us. He just sent a little tape in and we listened to it amidst quite a few others. And quite honestly, he was the only one that had the vaguest sort of knowledge about what he was doing. That was only 4 bars. He sent about a 15-minute tape in, about 30 seconds of it were good, the rest was rubbish. But you could tell from that 30 seconds with a bit of work it was there. And here he is, you know.
David, you took over from one of the sort of top vocal spots in the country, in the world almost, with Deep Purple. Just how difficult was it for you?
It wasn't too bad, really, because the members of the band I was working, you know, were really great human beings. They didn't make me feel as if I was replacing anybody. Made me feel just like a member immediately, you know.
Did you get a shock when you actually got the job?
Oh, right, yeah, absolutely. I'd sort of felt I could do something, but I didn't expect to get such an exalted position, if you know what I mean. But fortunately, everyone seems happy with it.
What were the big changes then in your life? You know, what, money?
Well, I don't like to think about the money side of it. You know, I hear such gross amounts of money mentioned, you know. I couldn't concentrate on being creative as far as a musician's concerned if I took all that seriously. But it affected a lot of my privacy. I've just been talking about my social ability. If I'm introduced as the commodity of which I'm involved in, conversation's over. That's it, you know. Like people who don't know the business move away, and people who know the business come in, you know what I mean? So it's a bit strange. But I wouldn't change it, I love it.
Must have been quite a shock when Ritchie Blackmore left the band.
Not really. I was really close to Ritchie, I knew him, I wrote a lot of the music with him. I expected it. But what I am surprised at was his album, you know, which was no different from early Purple. You know, I don't know whether you've heard Jeff Beck's album, the thing called Blow by Blow, you know, which is a guitar album. I expected Ritchie to come out with something like that, but it sounds just like Purple, but the musicians I don't find as exciting as, you know, this is removed. I love the vocalist, I live next door more or less, and Little Ronnie and me get on really well. But I was surprised at his choice of material, etc., you know. But he'll do great, he'll do phenomenally well.
Just one final thing, I haven't asked you any questions about drugs, groupies, hypodermic needles. So what have you got to say about that?
Love it all. Love it all.
How's an American shaping up into what's basically, you know, an English sort of band?
It's, I didn't think, to be honest, at first I didn't think it would work. I really didn't, but we had a jam, and like within the first minute or two, you know, I could tell that they were into the same things I was into, which was very kind of R&B, kind of funk, kind of, you know, and I think they were hunting for a sort of freedom, which I don't think, like for instance, Ritchie gave them, you know. So like they were so open to the whole thing. It turned out lovely. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. You know? 6 months before I joined, I was starving.
band moves to individual caravans backstage. John Lord okays an interview, though he's going to be disturbed halfway through it when his personal manager calls him to finish the interview and to go on stage.
How did a classically trained musician get into rock music in the first place?
Well, I was at drama school, and I had no money, and no other source of income at all. And a friend of mine asked me to play in a blues band with him. It was the early '60s, beginning of the blues boom in England, R&B we used to call it. And I really just started doing it about 2 or 3 nights a week just to pay for the flat I was living in. And it escalated from there. I liked it, I enjoyed myself. Formed a proper band with this guy, and that was the band that became the Artwoods, which really sort of where I started in the business.
Yeah, most people would, know of the Artwoods, and when you think back to those particular days and compare it with what you're doing today, the mechanics of the whole business today are quite frightening.
Well, you've seen that a lot out there.
Yeah.
Just talking about it. Yeah, but it's necessary, if you, like a ticket price, when someone buys a ticket, it's like buying a contract from the group to perform and, do as best as they can. It's like they're expecting something in return for their money. The mere fact that you multiply it by thousands of people makes no difference. It comes down to the individual in the end. The individual on that side of the stage and the individual on that side of the stage.
How much bigger, though, can things get?
No way it can go any further. I mean, there's a point at which a sponge won't take any more water, and that's really where it is with rock and roll. What I'd like to see happening would be a few large bands like ourselves and others in our position to at least attempt. It's financially very difficult to do. As I've just told you before, we've got 18 people working for us, so it's quite difficult to do what I'm going to suggest. I'd like to see a few bands getting back to doing small gigs. Just occasionally, to get back to a little bit more reality about the whole thing. It gets very unreal, all that number of people that you're responsible for. But it's like what is that thing, that once it gets going you can't stop it, it's
like a Quatermass experiment.
I suppose, something like that. It just keeps going on. But I still enjoy it, I love the excitement of playing in front of people.
To digress just a wee bit, do you ever feel that perhaps the music today is becoming a little too intellectual or too esoteric?
On the contrary, I think it could get, I don't see any reason at all why it shouldn't experiment, I mean...
You don't think it's too serious in any way?
Maybe in a few places, yeah. But I mean, if people don't experiment, it'll stagnate and stay exactly where it is. I mean, if the Beatles hadn't experimented with certain things, certain parts of the music business as we now know, it just wouldn't exist. And so on, like the Stones, and, you can name many names. I think it's vital that groups experiment. And hopefully not at the audience's expense, but occasionally it is that way. But I think it's necessary.
Talking, of the Stones and people like yourself, you're no longer the young generation. You're the older generation. Can you still identify with, the kids of today?
Well, I hope so. He said, knocking his microphone off. I shall hold it.
Quickly put it on. That's okay. Yeah.
I'll hold it.
Can I just hold it?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I really hope so, because otherwise there's no point in doing what we're doing. I mean, people still come to see us, and people still go to see the Stones and so on. It's a difficult question. The thing we have, we don't have the youth, maybe, of, say, like an 18-year-old punky rock and roll band, who just starting and really getting outrageous and, exciting and so on. We don't have their youth. I think we still have the excitement that they can provide, and we have the experience to go with it, to provide, perhaps a cleaner edge to it, which makes it more.
Do you think that there'd be the excitement today? Do you think there'd be the excitement today to compare with rock when it first started in the 50s? We hear an awful lot about that era.
No, that was a one-off, wasn't it? That'll never happen again. I mean, the introduction of that kind of music into the way that people were then just can never happen again, because times have changed so incredibly violently. You know, I mean, the safe, secure, easy, quiet suburban way of life was so and then suddenly people like Chuck Berry and Bill Haley and Little Richard and so on are suddenly screaming down your radio set. That can never happen again, you know. But there's no reason to say, but that's a social thing. But on a musical level, there's no reason to say why it shouldn't happen again. Or something incredibly different might not swoop out of nowhere. I don't think there's any reason why that shouldn't happen.
Again, just to digress,
Someone's waving at me from behind the camera.
Yeah.
Can I just see
Yeah.
if it's who I think it is? Yes, it is. Okay.
Just a couple
Just
more
calm down.
seconds and we're right with you. Just one thing, I was reading in the paper today that Roger Taylor, the tennis player, decided to pull out of England because of tax reasons. Now, I understand that you also live outside of England for tax reasons.
Well, it's not actually living outside of England, it's kind of an exile. It's like existing outside of England. You know, we actually still are British citizens and we still pay British tax on a certain level. You know, we haven't actually left the country. It's just a way of doing things whereby you try and avoid the really heavy, stinging top 30 or 40% that they. I mean, we can go up as high as 92% of our earned income, which seems to me to be a bit ridiculous. I mean, I know Britain's in trouble and it needs all the help it can get, but I'm an individual who requires certain things, and my working life as a rock musician, as a well-paid rock musician, is very small. It's 5 or 6 years at the most.
John, quite a few thousand people out there waiting, so I'll cut it short with just one final question.
Sure.
You know, if you had your time sort of over again, what do you think you'd like to do?
Be a rock musician, I guess. Can't think of anything better to do. Maybe a concert pianist, but I think the hard work would put me off before I get 8 hours a day. I wouldn't care to practice that. No, I'd be a rock musician. All right. I loved it. Every minute of it so far.
John, thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you!
It's lovely to be with you in New Zealand. Thank you for coming to see us.
every day. There's a sign on the clock. Slow it's turning. Don't miss on the break. The day has just begun. They put your arms around me like a circle around the sun. We dance across the seasons to a place that no one knows. Where angels speak to dwell. The day has just begun. It puts your arms around me like a circle around the sun. Dance across the seasons to a place that no one knows. Angels feel to you. Keep on moving. While the